be in standing, like I said. If you want to use weights, you can. Also have them nearby for when you're ready for them. And we'll just take a moment finding really good standing position, because this first part of the class is going to be in this position. Let's focus in on getting it nice with the feet hip width or just wider. Have a rock backwards and forwards through them. They don't need to be parallel, they need to be natural angle for you and your hips. So that's why the rocking backwards and forwards helps just find that natural position for you. Good, and then soften the knees and start growing up through the whole spine, lengthening by gently tucking the tailbone, but without clenching your glutes. Just think about more engaging through your center here. Crown of the head starts growing up. Let your shoulders open and drop away from your ears. And take a couple of nice breaths here. Breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth. So we're just opening the side ribs. Sorry, leave your arms relaxed. I'm just saying, opening your side ribs as you breathe in. And let the breath out through your mouth. Good, so we'll start with our ankles. So start near the mat, just circling around. So taking the weight towards the fronts of your feet and then over to one side. Take all the weight to your heels and then to the other side. So if you think about your ankles drawing these circles, but over your ankles, your knees stay, and over them, your hips, and so on. So that it's your whole body going around in these circles. You can change your direction every now and again. Okay, start thinking about your knees drawing the circles. So the circles might become a bit bigger if you can still control them. Control your balance, keep your height, your length. Good. Think about it being your pelvis now drawing the circles. Again, they might get a bit bigger, hopefully. Just make sure that you're not hula hooping your hips like this. It's your whole body staying on top. I did see that lovely demonstration there, Matt. So your chest and ribs, they're staying on top of your pelvis as your pelvis circles. Good. Make your ribs and your chest make those circles. Now don't forget to change the direction every now and again, your shoulders. By making now the biggest circle that you can. You should feel lots of adjustment going on in your glutes, in your abs. Keep your breath steady. Good. And then bring it back to center. Lovely. Okay, we'll bring the arms up. So if you want to, you can use your weights. I'm going to just come into some thoracic extensions. So with the arms up at shoulder height, drop your shoulders down, keep the back of the neck lovely and long. Breath in. And breath out to lift the arms up and send the center of the chest to the ceiling. And then lower. And again. So try and keep the tailbone magneting down to the mat behind you, and that center of chest magnets up to the ceiling. Do a couple more. Keep the shoulder tops down, shoulder blades, send them down into your pockets. And for these last couple, if you want to, stay in your extension for your breath in. So we're out breath into here, breathe in. And then lower. For one more. Okay, rest the arms down for now. Because we're going to take it to our double leg stretch in standing. So we'll bring the arms back in, but adding into it a transfer of weight to float one leg up. So you don't want your legs too wide or you're going to have a long way to go. So keep them underneath your hips. Arms back up to shoulder height. Transfer your weight over and float the leg up as you open. And then lower. Looking for the strength in your hip, in that standing leg to come from your glutes. Switching on. And the steadiness, the control to come from your center. If your balance doesn't allow you to look up and send your chest high, just keep looking forward on a point that doesn't move in front of you. Good, make this your last, and then rest. And you can pop those weights down, because we'll take it to some twists, some spine twists, so you can bring your feet a bit wider, so we really want the pelvis to stay in position, keeping the hip bones pointing straight forward like headlights. You can leave your arms across your chest, or you can bring your fingertips to your temples. So soft knees, open hips, little spaces underneath the arches of your feet. Breath in and breath out to move. Let's twist around through that upper body. It might be a bit stiff to start with, so just go easy. You can increase your range as you start loosening up. Out, breath round, in, breath stay. And then back. Keep the hip bones pointing forward. You can slightly push forward through that hip you're twisting towards. If that helps. One more. And then rest. Good. Okay, let's take it to some lower body strength, and we'll do some simple squats to start with. So your feet back to hip width apart. As you lower down into your squat, you're going to stick your bottom out behind you so you can come down nice and deep, and then power back up. So if you want your weights in your hands, you can, so adding arms to this squat. We're in breathing down, and then out breath, power up. So in breath, keep your weight in your heels and push through your heels, push through your glutes to get your pelvis forward as you come straight back up. Get those knees bending over your toes, don't let them roll in. Couple more. Finishing at this one. And have a little rest in standing. Because next we're going to take it down into that position again, but for a sustained squat, where we do some hundreds arms pressing back. So if you can come down nice and deep into your squat, you'll get lovely work against gravity there with the arms. So try and make it a lovely deep squat, but supporting with your low tummy engaged. Okay, so pelvic floor, lead from there, and you'll feel your low tummy engaged then. And we'll be working in the right area. Okay, so when you're ready, into your squat, lower yourself down. Good, arms alongside, keep your chin tucked like you're holding a peach under your chin, and then start pressing back with your arms. So if you've got your weights in your hands, you'll really feel this building, but you can just work with the weights of the arms themselves. And if you want to challenge yourself more, you can take more weight onto one foot, so you're really transferring more weight onto one side, aiming to lift the other one up. So that you end up in a deep one leg squat, pulsing those arms at the same time. But you can rest your toes down if your balance doesn't quite allow. You'll still get lots of good strength through the hip on that standing side. Keep the breath steady, up the nose, out the mouth. Let's change sides if you're trying your one leg version. With the other leg a try, keep pulsing the arms all the time. Breath steady. Long back of your neck, shoulders away from your ears. Keep sliding your shoulder blades into your pockets. Keep going, pulsing and breathing. Come back to two legs for our last few. Keep going if you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. All right. And we'll take it down to the calves to do some tiptoe work, starting with just our simple rises. So floating the heels up and then lowering them down. And again up. So if you want to, you can bring the arms in, you can lift at the same time and then lower. Out, breath up. In, breath out. Try and make it smooth, controlled on the way up and on the way down. Lovely. One more. And then rest. All right, so we're going to take it to our walking motion. So we're going to come up into tiptoes again, but find balance this time. So open your shoulders, settle them away from your ears, float yourselves up to stay. And when you're steady and ready, lower one heel. Back up, lower the other heel. So keep that pelvis going down, level, not tipping from side to side. Add your arms when you're ready. Alternating. Good, you can make it quicker if you want to, or you can keep it slow and steady like this. Good, last couple. And finish on tiptoes. Lower yourselves down. All right, so we don't need the balls or the weights, just put them away. We'll take it to our one leg stretch, which is a one leg balance, with the aim of progressing that towards a little one leg squat. So just take what you need to challenge you with this. Make sure the knees are soft, that you don't lock out the standing one. Stay lovely and upright and transfer your weight onto one foot. So strong in that hip, switch the glute on and start floating the other one up. So we're aiming to keep floating until the knee comes up to hip height. And then replace. Transfer, strong, and float up. All right, you can keep working there, alternating sides, or try staying in the one leg balance with this knee up at hip height and add a bend into the standing knee, press up. You can do a few little repetitions there, 4 or 5, and then have a go at the other side. Good, so if you need your arms, you can use your arms, or you can put them on your hips. Try not to clench the toes on the standing leg. Try and get your strength and your control from here. Good. And obviously make sure you have a go at both sides. Good. See, you're all having a really good go at it. And there's some great balance. You don't have to make it a deep squat, just try and make sure the knee is not wobbling in and out. Control is key. Last one. And rest. Okay, so we're all finished with our sort of physically most challenging standing exercise that we tend to do. Scooter going on to swimming. So scooter is back into that squat position. You can use your weights if you want to. If you're going to add the arms, but you don't need to add the arms because you can either leave them resting on your hips, or if you need the support for balance, you can have your hands resting on the wall. So down into your deeper squat position. Take your weight onto one foot to allow you to slide or step that one back and in, back and in, keeping the one leg squat position on, adding your arms as the foot slides away or steps away. Good. Staying to one side to start with. One more on this side. And then come up. Another go at the other side. Start position, transfer your weight, strong hip, and slide away. Last couple. Get that back and neck long and push up. All right, and then for swimming, what we do is we use basically the scooter end position as the start position for swimming. So you come back forward, but you take a leg out behind you. And that's the start position. Sorry. Okay, and then we'll work from there, lifting and lowering from the hip. So you can keep your hands on your hips, keeping those shoulders open and the shoulder blades going down your back. Or you can lift the arms up forward here. Adding a little lift through the shoulders, alternating arms. Obviously the leg that's working needs to stay the same. But if the arms are too much, just work with the legs for now. The arms stay up and you just lift that little bit from the shoulder joint as the leg lifts behind you from the hip. Last couple for this side, and then it really will be time to finish off with the other side. All right, so down and slide a heel away, a foot away, sorry, for your start position. You're slightly bent forward at the hips, but supporting with your low tummy. Good, arms on your hips, so hands on your hips or arms lifted if you want to. When you're ready then, start lifting from the hip joint, keeping the low back long. You're just using the extension in your hip, using your glutes. Adding the arms if you want to, from the shoulder joints. Keep looking at the top of your mat, so you're holding that peach under your chin. Back of the neck long. Keep going if you can. Last few. And rest. Good. Well done. You'll be pleased to know we're going to come to the mat. So bring ourselves into 4-point kneeling to start with. That's our first position on the mat. And we're going to start with a nice exercise for just focusing in on the shoulder joints and hopefully improving some mobility around them. So you need to get your hands under your shoulders, hips under your knees, and we're just going to focus on, without bending the elbows, sinking the chest down towards the mat. So this is not a cat and cow. The low back position we're trying to keep quite neutral. It's just sinking the breastbone towards the mat. So that you'll feel the shoulder blades come towards each other. And then as you draw your breastbone away from the mat, imagine a little fire underneath it that you're trying to get away from. Your shoulder blades will separate in space. And then you can dip again. So focus on trying to keep your low back position consistent. and gain some movement around your shoulder girdle and your breastbone area. Couple more. Okay, now let's take it to some cat stretches. So tip your pelvis forward and now push your centre of chest forward as you look up. And then reverse it, tuck your tailbone under, draw the centre of your back up to the ceiling. Good, keep going with that. Forward breath in and tuck. Breath in at the top. Good, and after this one, bring it back to your mid position, to your neutral spine position, and we'll take it to some swimming. So you can break down the swimming if you want to, but just done quite a lot, so hopefully you'll feel ready to bring it straight into an arm and opposite leg. Breath in, breath out to push away. Breath in, come back, breath out the other side. Keep looking down between your hands. Try and keep your low back neutral, your pelvis level across the back. Imagine you could have a tray of drinks across your pelvis. So don't try and come too high with the leg. Think about pushing it out behind you. Keep going if you can, a couple more. Careful not to push down through the top of the foot on the leg that stays on the mat. Remember, use your centre to get your stillness. Last one. And then rest back. All right, give your wrists a little break and a stretch. And then have a think about whether you want to come down onto your forearms for plank. If you could do some forearm planks if the wrists have had enough. Otherwise, we'll do the leg pull and press. All right, so quick reminder of the forearm plank. Elbows under your shoulders, shoulders away from your ears, long low back, and then you out breath up. Here, either up onto your knees, or if you tucked your toes under, you can come up into that full forearm plank position. All right, but if you're okay with it, to come back onto the wrists under your shoulders or in front for level 2. Okay, breath in, toes are under, breath out, hover the knees and slide forward. Breath in to stay. Back to the hover and down. All right, but if that's too much and you're just resting with the hands underneath, with just looking for the hover and hold. Make it a more static exercise. Where is right for you? One more, whichever version you're doing. And then rest back. And let's have a lovely stretch. Sink your chest between your knees if you can, while you keep your bottom on your heels. Stretch those shoulders and upper back. Good, and this time we're going to come all the way down onto tummy. So give yourself your head support. Your weights maybe if you want them, so we can do breaststroke arms alongside the body. Take a moment making sure your tailbone and the crown of your head are as distant from each other as they can be, towards opposite walls, your arms alongside. So we'll start with breaststroke, which you can work up towards level 2 when you're ready. Starting with just out-breathing the shoulders open through their fronts and hovering the arms for a breath in. And then lower. And when you've got that, when you're happy that your shoulder blades are sliding into your pockets, you're maintaining your neutral spine, you can, if you want to, add your forehead hover as well. So breath in there while you hold it. And then lower. Try and use your upper back extension. Keep the length through your low back. Don't feel a strain in your mid to low back. When you get that lift, try and get it from the shoulder blade area of your back instead. One more of these. And then rest. But what we'll do is, while keeping the forehead down, just do some repeated lifts as a hundreds exercise, but in breaststroke position. So the head stays down, open up the fronts of your shoulders, slide those shoulders into your pockets, with the arms hovering, pulse them. Good, halfway. Last few. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good. Okay. Let's have a push up. We'll come into side lying. Starting with clam. So your choice. If you want to work at level 3, then keep your larger cushion in front of you so you can rest your knee on it. Otherwise, both knees and hips bent, work at level 2. So I'll start at level 2 and then I'll give you a reminder of level 3 for those who want it. Long waist, ankles up there. We'll leave them down if you need to. Heels together, out breath up. In breath down. Good. Finishing with this one, and then rest down. And we're going to stay with the hips. We're going to keep in position here, or bend both legs if they weren't already, so that we can do some side kick, but cycles. So your first thing is to bring that whole top leg up to hip height. Have a breath in, and then breathe out to bring it forward and back. So bend it at the back, bring it forward bent, and then straighten it out and bring it back. All right, it makes sense once you get started. You're bringing it forward bent, straight back so that you get that opening of the hip. Big movements from your hip and knee, but stillness everywhere else, trying to keep the leg at hip height. Lovely smooth movement with the top shoulder open, relaxed, drawn away from your ear. Keep going, last couple. And then rest down. Okay, and we'll have a switch over, just so a push up and over to the other side. Not loads and loads for the hips today. I forgot to go on to your level 3, didn't I, Clam? So I'll start on level 3 on this side. You work there. You did on the other side. So you're going to straighten your lower leg out if you're working at level 3, hooking the top foot behind the lower knee. And then the action through the hip is the same. Out breath, the knee up, opening the hip, squeezing into the glute, and then slow, controlled lower back down. Good, last 3 of these, whichever version you're doing. And rest. Good, both knees bent though. Okay, top leg up to hip height. Breath in to prepare, and then out breath forward, straight, pull it back. Really try and keep that top hip pointing straight up at the ceiling all the way through, and without your low back position changing. Last couple. And then rest it down. All right, and to finish off, we'll bring it onto our backs. Let's get the fronts of the hips really nicely opened up with some one leg stretches to start with. So give yourself a little head support. Come into rest position. Take your time, find neutral, get the feet comfortable, shoulders open, and the back of your neck as well. So just starting whenever you're ready, take your time, out breath in, heel away. So we're just working on opening the fronts of the hips, maintaining neutral spine so the back doesn't get pulled by any tightness in your hip flexors. Keep the arms lighter if you want to challenge yourself, you could hover them. Maintaining your low, flat tummy, flat low tummy. Good, if you'd like to, you could add arms or just work where you are. Stretch the whole front of the body. Make it a double leg stretch, out breathing. It's almost back to where we started, but we were in standing when we did this at the beginning of the class. Good, one last one. And then rest down. So slide your head support away. Let's do some shoulder bridges. So check you're resting on your shoulder blades, arms light, heels a bit closer to your bottom, breath in. And then breath out to tip back into that low back space. Close it right down before you start trying to peel your tailbone up and then each of the low back vertebrae and then up through the mid towards the upper back. Breath in at the top, you're working those glutes. And then come back down. Stretch the fronts of the thighs and the hips at the top there. Glutes are on, heels have your weight. And back down. If you want to challenge your glutes, you can do some one leg shoulder bridge if you want, but we're coming to the end of the class, winding down, ready to finish with a couple of stretches. So just enjoy the mobility of a straightforward shoulder bridge if you'd like to. Last one. Good. And then for your stretches, when you're ready, you can bring your head support back in, hug both knees into your chest. Give your back a stretch. A little rock from side to side if you'd like to. Good, and then take one foot back to the mat so you can hold behind the thigh and straighten up into a hamstring stretch to start. Good, release and put that heel onto the opposite knee, drop the knee out. That's it, see if you can hop these legs up to stretch into the hip and glute. Well done, release the feet back to the mat, but keep your position there with the foot across so we can take it into a back stretch, your arms out at shoulder height, and then rotate away from the top hip. See maybe if you can rest that top foot now down on the floor, keeping the opposite shoulder on the mat. You can look towards the opposite side for a couple of breaths. When you're ready to come back, use an out breath. Back to the center. And let's have a swap over. So hamstring on this other side, straightening up from the knee. We're nearly finished. Good. Cross it over, drop the knee out. Start with hugging them up. Good, and then when you've released them, back to the mat, just take your arms out so you can do that final twist. Lovely. Maybe you can just bring your back arm over to join, and you'll be on your side so that you can have a push up. Well done.